Hey everybody, Jeff Gray with Devon Brown's Easiest Sales Systems team, back with another edition of Ask the Coach on a Friday afternoon. So we get a little Friday, we get a little crazy on Fridays, but obviously, as you can see by the fact that I can't talk, it's been a long day and a long week. So no risky business this week, no dancing around in my drawers in the office, even though I'm here by myself it's only 7 o'clock, so it's kind of early. I'm getting off early tonight. However, I did want to stop by to talk about a couple of things, okay? So let me tell you a little story real quick. And it's a short story, and of course, it's just a quick story. Last week, y'all know I was in Orlando, okay? When I got back, see, this is not a story about Orlando for one time. I got finally, but I kind of, anyway. But anyway, when I got back to my house from the airport and everything like that, I'm tired, it's late. So I just flipped on the TV, kind of plopped on the bed, I'm getting ready to crash. Whatever channel the TV was on, it was on. It was actually on Showtime, a series they have called Show Docs. And they were talking about a guy named Bob Beck. Now, many of you may know Bob Beck better by his pseudonym, his pen name, Iceberg Slim. Bob Beck was, I'll give you a little background on him. Bob Beck was a gentleman of leisure, if you all know what that means. He's a pimp, okay? Back in like the 40s and 50s. And this is how he made his money. And he ended up going to jail for this. And when he got out of jail, he realized the error of his ways, went back and asked his mom for forgiveness, and went legitimate. Wife, kids, family, job, the whole nine. And they say he worked as a, pest control, exterminator, excuse me. It's a long week. He worked as an exterminator. So for a guy that's used to people just giving him money, and crawling up under people's houses to kill bugs, that was a big stretch. So it kind of shows the kind of guy he was. And when he said, look, I'm turning my back on that life, I'm turning my back on the street, I'm going straight, and this is what we have to do, we have to work. Okay. Long story short, he used to tell his wife these crazy stories about when he was in the life. And she would start writing them down, taking notes and everything, because she was like, this is really interesting and deep. So one day she sees in the African American newspaper, this was in Los Angeles, he lived in Watts or Compton, not sure which one, an advertisement saying, we're looking for African American writers who can tell gritty inner city stories. So she says, you know what, I'm going to submit some of his stuff to this contest. And she did. And of course, he was contacted by the publisher, and the guy was like, I would like to hear more about this story. Fast forwarding, he becomes a famous writer. People love his first book. His first book was actually called Pimp. People loved it. He got a lot of critical acclaim, went on television, everything like this. And it was kind of a counterculture thing to the African-American literature was happening at the time, because his was actually from the street. And he is a folk hero. His books still sell. They're still popular. You can find them. It just tells this gritty story. Okay. So they're telling the story of his life and how everything went and how he did this. So at the end of the documentary, let me check my time, 3 minutes. Okay. At the end of the documentary, they're doing a little interview right before the credits roll. And he had a quote that hit me so strong that I got up out of my bed and wrote it down. And this is from Bob Beck, AKA Iceberg Slim. He says, when someone says, when you look back on your life, what is the impression you get? What do you think? What do you regret? And he very solemnly looked at the camera and said, I stupidly tried to get something for nothing. And anytime you try to get something for nothing, you're going to suffer. And I'm like, that's deep. Because it's true. Because in the internet marketing space, a lot of times people try to get something for nothing. And it's just not going to happen. Let me just call it what it is. No candy coating, no sugar coating. Not from Coach Jeff. You're getting the real, true, raw. It's not going to happen. You have to work. You have to be willing to go through some things. Now, let me relate all this back to Orlando. Let me tell you. In Orlando, I got a chance, as you know, to sit down with some really, really, really successful, top, extremely smart, and crazy motivated internet marketers. And one thing about them all, one thing they all had in common. None of them had it easy. None of them had it easy. Not one of them got where they are without struggling, fighting like hell against frustration and disappointment, 1, 2, 3, 4 business failures, people telling them that they can't do it, negativity everywhere, but they kept going forward. They kept fighting. They worked for it. And all their stories had that one thing in common. Of course, they had different paths, but it were amazing when you sit down and say, well, yeah, I came from here and this is what I did and that and that. and this is how I ended up here. These are amazing stories, okay? So the whole thing, it comes back to this thing. I stupidly tried to get something for nothing, and anytime you try to get something for nothing, you're going to suffer. So these guys, they're not suffering because they didn't try to get something for nothing. They worked for it. They worked hard. And that's what I want you guys to take away from this right now. This is not, look, easy is punching a clock. Let's just call it what it is. Easy is punching a clock. I don't care. Somebody says job, oh, my job is stressful. My job is this. Yes, but you have a job. Your day is defined already when you wake up in the morning. You don't have to figure out how you're going to make your next dollar. You don't have to create something new. Find another way to market. You just go to work, you punch the clock, at the end of the day, you go home, at the end of the week, you get paid, at the end of 65-something years, you retire, and hopefully you'll have enough money to live on. That's easy. What we do is not easy. This is not something for nothing. You got to want it. You have to seriously dedicate yourself to it, and you have to focus with blinders on and not hear anything negative from outside, not even entertain it. Take people out of your life. I'll tell you personally, I have friends that I love dearly, but I do not talk to. I do not. I just stopped calling them, stopped having contact with them because they were bringing negativity into my life. They looked at what I do and they say, whatever. Y'all have heard all this music. I cut them. I cut them with extreme prejudice. Sorry. I have things I want to do for me. I have a purpose for my life. And if you're not helping me in that, that's fine. You can stand by on the sideline and watch. But the last thing, let's put it this way. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to help. You don't have to help. You can stand on the sidelines and watch. But one thing I will not allow you to do is get in my way. Period. I have something I want. I am going to have it. If you have another opinion, then you and I, we have a problem. I want you guys to have that same kind of singular focus. You can't get something for nothing. And anytime you try to get something for nothing, you're going to suffer. So whatever hardship, disappointment, frustration you're going through in building your business is nothing compared to if you try to take a shortcut and get something for nothing. Or if you take the easy way out and end up 65, 70 years old and sit there and say, boy, you know, I wish I should have done this. I really could have done that. Because I heard another quote one time that said that at the end of your days, you're not going to regret the things you did nearly as much as the things you didn't do. Nobody gets something for nothing. Work, focus, and be determined. Fight through your frustrations. Fight through your disappointments. Refuse to take no for an answer. Refuse to quit. Refuse to lose. That's it. I'll see you guys on Monday. Everybody have a good, safe weekend. It's football. Go Dogs. Go Falcons. Y'all know how I feel. All right. I love y'all. You take it easy. Thanks, Coach Jeff. Don't forget, send the questions in. Ask the coach. I'll be happy to put your questions on the video. Bye-bye.